Today marks the end of the July-September fundraising quarter, and tomorrow is the latest day for a candidate to make the stage for the fourth Democratic presidential debate. These deadlines, of course, could create a major shift and bring about an exodus of some of the candidates vying for the party's nomination.
Over the weekend, we saw several candidates making their pitch in New Hampshire. Andrew Yang, Senator Cory Booker, and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, to name just a few. Joining us with an update from the ground in New Hampshire is Fox News political reporter Paul Steinhauser, joining us now via Skype. Welcome back, sir.
Always great to join you guys. Good morning.
Paul, you always bring us such great stuff. You get great questions into these candidates. You spoke in particular recently with Andrew Yang and asked him a little bit about what his anti-corruption plan would look like in light of some of the, things that have come out about Hunter Biden serving on a board while Joe Biden is vice president. Let's listen to what Yang had to say about that.
So to me, it's a very small sacrifice to say, look, while I'm in office for 4 or 8 years, none of my family members should be on the boards of I would say even not just any foreign company, any domestic company, because you have to be honest where people know that could end up influencing decisions at the highest level. And asking your family to take a 4 or 8 year hiatus from serving on board seems to me to be very reasonable.
Yeah. And Paul, what's really interesting to me there, Yang, obviously a new political candidate, like that answer was very straightforward and kind of obvious. But Elizabeth Warren, a much more experienced Paul, got really tripped up on this same question.
She did, and that happened right here in New Hampshire last Wednesday when she was at a campaign event in Keene State. She was asked by Annie Linsky of the Washington Post, what her corruption plans, she's put 2 out already, would do when it comes to the children of vice presidents. And she immediately said no, and then stumbled because I don't think she remembered at the time the details of her plans. All these candidates, though, let's be honest, they're kind of walking a tightrope here. They don't want to implicitly criticize former Vice President Joe Biden. Far from it, right? They don't want to do that right now. They want to stand in simpatico with him against the president. But at the same time, they want to make clear that if they're president, they're in the White House, their vice president's children will not be on the boards of any foreign companies. So a little bit of a tightrope. You also heard Senator Bennett say the same thing in an interview last week with Politico.
Yeah, I thought that was particularly interesting. I know that Andrew Yang also spoke a little bit about the economy and about whether a recession might be good for him, which raised some eyebrows. Let's take a listen to that and we'll get your reaction.
I would never wish for the economy to have a downturn because I know that lives get disrupted and in some cases even lost when there's an economic downturn. So when I was asked a question, how would it affect my campaign? I think most people would agree that if there's a downturn, the party in power or in office generally has a harder time getting reelected, but I would never wish for that.
Well, what did you make of that answer, Paul? I mean, he's walking a pretty fine line there whenever it comes to recession.
He is. That was my interview with him at a Chamber of Commerce event in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Now, minutes earlier, somebody in the audience had asked him just that. If there is a recession, will it help your campaign? And he said, yes, it would help my campaign. Now, politically, strategically, that's correct. But then I followed up in the interview because you don't want to play into President Trump's playbook. He has said multiple times that the Democrats are rooting for a recession to hurt the president. You saw Yang there delicately get out of that. So, yes, I mean, politically, does it help? Of course it would help. Party in power always suffers during a recession. But Yang did raise some eyebrows with his initial comment. Delicately walked out of it right there, guys.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I mean, we've interviewed him a couple times here, and he's always just very direct.
He's a little too honest.
Yeah, he's maybe a little too honest sometimes. So that might be an example of that.